So today I'm checking out this adapter that goes on pallet forks, either like pallet forks you have for a skid steer or tractor, or even the pallet forks on a forklift. And I ordered this so I could move trailers around at my property more safe and securely than I do now. So let's go ahead and take this thing out of the packaging and I can show you what I bought and why I bought it. All right, so this is what was in that box. This is an adapter. You put your pallet fork blades into this. Actually, they would come in this side here. And then you have these three little kind of like protectors. They're like little wheels that go into different places. So that way when you put your pallet forks in, they can roll against this and kind of line it up straight. Plus it keeps you from accidentally busting your pins, pushing them in too far with your forks. When you're moving a trailer back and forth and this thing is hitting back and forth, it should be pretty sturdy, but these little wheels help protect everything. Then you've got these little pieces of metal. You've got a couple little like eyelets here that probably go in there to help you put like chains and stuff to attach to something that needs to have that kind of movement, that pressure. And then you have these pins probably for this. And then you've got these three pins, which I don't know, I haven't really put it together. The one thing is it has no instructions whatsoever. It just came with this little card that has a WhatsApp support thing on it. If you need support on any of this stuff, you just reach out to the seller and say, hey, you know, what's going on? But this is pretty straightforward. You can build this and put this all together just by looking at the picture. So I'm going to get this put together. That way you can see what it looks like all put together the proper way. And then I'm going to put this on the end of my pallet forks and show you how you can put your receiver hitch balls in here. And when I say balls, I mean I have one that's got actually a three-way. It's got three different size balls on it and you can flip it whichever way you want. And I use that specific receiver hitch to move all the trailers and everything around at my property. This is gonna let me now do it more safely, because before, really all I was doing was kind of like C-clamping that thing on the end of a fork and moving that trailer around. And crazy enough, that usually worked pretty good, but if it's a really heavy trailer like my gooseneck flatbed, that thing would a lot of times pop that thing off because it's just too heavy. So this is gonna allow me to move that thing around, of course empty, but you know, this should have no problem hanging on and let me move that stuff around. Let me put it all together so you can see it. So this is set up the way I think I would use this. Again, these little rollers here are to help, you know, your forks get lined up in here in this and roll. These right here are eyelets, so you can hook chains and stuff to it, but what they also do, they serve two purposes, is they tighten down on your fork. So your fork goes in here and then you twist this down to tighten it as tight as you can get it on your fork blades. And then you would use this extra nut that it comes with to just kind of tighten it in that position. Now, I'm gonna try it like this and see how well this thing holds on my metal blades, but my blades are smooth. So if this tightens down on it, but you don't tighten it down super hard, the blades kind of angle and get thinner as you go this direction. So that might not hold the greatest and it might slip off, right? So if that happens, then I'm gonna do what some people already do. Like some people drill a hole at the end of their fork and they just mount a ball inside of that hole on their fork. And that's okay to move really light stuff, but if you have a pretty heavy trailer and you go to pick that up, you already cut that fork to weaken it, and now you might just break that tip off of your fork. So I'm not really going to do that. That's why I wanted something like this. But what I would do if I needed to is I would drill a hole that's smaller, just enough for one of these pins, and I would drill a hole down into the fork so when I put this on my forklift blades, that this pin can go down actually through the fork, right? The forks would come out just a little bit and I would run the pin through the fork itself, and I'd do it on both blades. So these would have that back and forth, you know, leverage or hold there to keep this from coming off. And then of course your blades are going to handle the up and down because they're just handling the weight. Then these would just really be there to kind of make sure this stays nice and level against your blades instead of it, you know, rattling and moving around. So these would just be kind of hold it in place, but these wouldn't be used to hold it from slipping off if you had the holes. So basically you would just drill holes like it has here in your blade. I probably will end up doing that because my flatbed gooseneck has, you know, two 12,000-pound tandem axles underneath it with tandem tires. And that thing, just to get it moving, can sometimes tip my skid steer forward and back. So I am probably going to cut holes in the end of my forks So that way I have this nice and secured. But I'm going to try this first. I mean, who knows? This might surprise me and this might hold it on there really well and I don't have to mess with that. But if I need to, I'll drill holes in the end of the forks. That's no problem, especially a small hole like this. But anyways, yeah, this is how I would set it up. These extra pieces over here, I looked at the pictures and I get how they're putting them on, but it makes no sense to me whatsoever that these would even be somewhat useful. So I'm just going to kind of consider these extra pieces to, you know, put in my whatever box. But I mean, these pins are useful for all kinds of things, right? These cotter keys and these just straight pins, that's fine. And I kind of understand, I mean, they'll fit through this little roller, but you know, you would have to, it only fits through the metal and the roller. It won't go all the way through, because I'd put them here if they would work like that, and I'd use these for something different. But these pins are not long enough to go all the way through. So if these pins were longer, you know, maybe this long, and it would go from the top all the way to the bottom, and you could put the cotter key in it and it would hold these little wheels in, I totally would use them for that. But they won't do that. They only go, you know, so far, and actually they barely make it through the wheels. I don't think they make it through the wheel and the metal, because this is really thick metal. I definitely think this is strong enough to move around pretty much whatever you want to move around, but the components to it, not the greatest or most thought out. I mean, I might be missing something, you know, let me know down in the comments if I'm missing something on these, and you know, whatever this is going to provide. But these are definitely long enough to go all the way through. And like I said, if I cut holes in this, I'm still going to be using these, and I'll use a different pin to go through the receiver hitch. But anyways, I just wanted to give you an idea of what you're getting in the package, what it looks like, why you would use it. And I hope this information was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Y'all take care.